Hello there. I'm a Daily reviewing 2006's D.O.A, Dead or Alive. When I first saw this, I did not know that it was inspired by a video game series of the same name. I watched it because I saw a clip of a scene that had popped up on YouTube. I'll admit, it piqued my interest. As I started the movie, it quickly became obvious that it was, at the very least, inspired by Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And looking at the video game, I see that Dead or Alive appears to be a game much in the same vein as those two games, or at least a female-centric version of them. I hesitate to use the term girl boss, because quite frankly, even though the girls that the movie focuses on are highly competent, they also look like this. And appealing to the male gaze somehow diminishes being a highly competent woman. I'm not quite sure why, but this is what I've been told. Of course, in the case of this movie, appealing to the male gaze didn't help the film either. But by the time this movie came out, the days of Skinamax were long gone, and this film tends to cut away quickly rather than linger on our lovely ladies. So get ready with the pause button as we look at D.O.A. Our movie opens at a ninja temple in Japan, high atop the Ishikari Mountains. It is here that we meet one of our protagonists, Kasumi. She is a princess and leader of her ninja clan. She wants to go looking for her brother, Hayate, who competed in a prior D.O.A contest and was supposedly killed, even though his body was not released. Her brother's friend and advisor, Hayabusa, warns her that for some bizarre reason, even though she is the leader of this clan, she can't leave their fortress, or the ninjas that swear allegiance to her will kill her.
What?
She starts to peace out when Ayane shows up and threatens her. Even though you are the boss, you can't leave. Thanks to Hayabusa, the ninjas are all momentarily distracted, and Kasumi bails. And from out of nowhere, there comes an invitation to the D.O.A competition.
Oh, how convenient!
Our next protagonist is Tina. She was a professional wrestler and knows how to fight, but she doesn't get any respects since wrestling is staged. And she wants respect. Some pirates show up, and Tina demonstrates that she does indeed know how to fight. Props to Jamie Presley, that's a nice kick. Once again, out of nowhere, an invitation for the D.O.A contest arrives. Next is Christy. She is a thief assassin whose luck has run out. The Hong Kong police have caught her with the contents from a safe of a ritzy hotel. Fortunately for her, they are distracted by her state of dress, and she is able to take advantage of that distraction. She flees on a motorcycle when it is struck by an invitation. And that is it for the named invitations, but we will see some of the other competitors soon enough. Next up, we meet Ayane again. She is tasked with leaving the temple to find Kasumi and kill her for leaving the temple.
What?
Got that, kids? It's okay to leave the temple if you're going to kill somebody else who left the temple. Cut to a private jet of our competitors flying to the competition. There's an introductory video from Helena Douglas explaining that everyone on the plane has been chosen for the competition because they are the best fighters in their field. The winner of the competition will receive $10 million. We get a couple of character moments, including one between Christy and her former partner Max, who abandoned her in Hong Kong. She lets it be known that she isn't happy with him. Then Helena is back and explains that our competitors are now above D.O.A Island, and they need to parachute from the plane and make their way to a statue before sundown, where they will be disqualified from the competition. Everyone bails out, and we follow our three female main protagonists as they land and make their way to the statue. Turns out that they're going to have to work together if they wish to get to the finish line before time runs out. Thanks to teamwork and some wire work, we make it to the top in time. Helena is there to tell them that they were the last to make it, and then takes them to meet the man currently running the competition, Dr. Victor Donovan. He was the partner of the man who originally created the competition, Fame Douglas, Helena's father. Having recently turned 21, Helena will be competing for the first time. Everyone is then invited to the labs for physicals. Here we meet Weatherby, Donovan's right-hand man. Looks like he is sweet on Helena. Donovan shows up interrupting Weatherby's perv session. He's checking to see if the nanobots they injected into the competitors are working. The nanobots are going to be used to record the muscle movements of the competitors. More on that later. We then see several competitors training. Nothing says martial arts training like skating around the complex. Still, it isn't a complete waste of time.
Oh, yeah.
As they train, we get a voiceover from Donovan explaining that the fights can be called to start at any time, and the combatants can't use any weapons, just their bodies. All the fights are until one of the combatants is knocked out. The loser will then be sent home. They have all been fitted with watches that will light up and let them know who their combatant is. Several fights are then started and are intercut with each other. This is a bit of a mess, and we don't get to see the fights from start to finish, but more of a highlight reel. We get a couple of Skinamax pause-worthy moments as well. There, I've done it for you so you don't have to.
Excellent!
So then we take a break from the action to have a flashback with Kasumi. She's been captured by some rogues and her brother Hayate rescues her. For his efforts, an invitation to the D.O.A. competition arrives. Back in the here and now, Dr. Donovan visits Kasumi and says that he is glad that she is here. She replies that she is here to find out what happened to her brother. Donovan tells her that he had a fight with one of the competitors named Leon, who we can see training, and that they had a fight at the Buddhist temple. Hayate fell from the top floor out into the ocean below, and his body was never recovered. Later, as Kasumi relaxes in a bath, Hayabusa is standing guard outside, and she asks him why he is here. He says that Ayane is here, looking to restore the clan's honor by killing her. She says that she knows that, and that she doesn't believe Donovan's explanation of what happened to her brother. She believes that he is alive, and she is going to find him. Hayabusa says that he is willing to help. Cut to a bit later that night, and we see Christy finding her one-time partner Max in her room. He tells her that he set her up in Hong Kong so that she would get and accept the invitation to D.O.A. He says that he wants to help her steal not the $10 million prize, but $100 million. She likes the sound of that. Donovan likes what he has seen of Kasumi, and has Weatherby match her against Leon. But before they can fight, Ayane arrives. They fight for a bit, but are interrupted by Leon. Oddly enough, Ayane leaves before he is seen by Leon. Leon and Kasumi fight, and he can clearly physically overpower her, so he stops doing that and reverts to martial arts, where she is clearly the superior fighter. She eventually kicks him over the terrace ledge of Christie's room. The next day, Tina has to face off against her father. They have a fight on a pair of rafts, and the first to be knocked into the water will be declared the loser. Tina wins, and her father is very happy for her. Shortly thereafter, while relaxing, the girls decide to have a volleyball match. Hayabusa tells Kasumi that he's going to try and get into the lab while Donovan is distracted by watching the volleyball match. We cut back and forth between Hayabusa and our bikini-clad protagonist, kicking various kinds of ass. Just as Hayabusa finishes with his last guard, a shuriken flies out into the volleyball, popping it, and Kasumi says that she has to leave. Hayabusa, for his part, gets past the guards, but the doors lock him in. Meanwhile, Kasumi runs off into the forest to confront Ayane. They fight for a while, Kasumi trying to get Ayane to help her find out what happened to Hayate. Ayane says that he is dead, just like Kasumi is fixing to be, when Tina, Christy, and Helena come looking for Kasumi. Once again, Ayane flees rather than being seen by others.
Missed it by that much.
Next up, a fight between Tina and Zach. I'll admit, Jamie Presley has some nice moves. Tina wins, gaining the respect of Zach. Next up, a rain-drenched fight between Christy and Helena. Nice. They even broke out the slow-mo. Eventually, Christy wins. Now that Hayabusa is missing, Kasumi wants to go looking for him, and both Tina and Christy decide to tag along. They find a secret entrance to the lab and head into it. Once there, they see an unconscious Hayabusa in a room and rush to his side. The door closes behind them, and gas starts to fill the room. Meanwhile, Helena is sitting and thinking about her recent defeat. Weatherby arrives to console her, and he ends up telling her that the night her father died, he had an argument with Donovan. Donovan wanted to use Weatherby's nanobot Neuralink technology to change D.O.A., and Helena's dad wasn't having it. As it so happens, Donovan was listening to this conversation thanks to the cameras everywhere to record fights. Donovan orders security to kill Weatherby and Helena. They have a remarkably bloodless PG-rated fight with katanas, which Helena wins, but it's not too bad. They then head for the lab. Meanwhile, in the lab, Donovan shows his prisoners what this is all really about.
let me introduce you to the future.
He then downloads the nanobot information of the fighters' fighting styles to the glasses. Initially, I thought this might mean that.
I know Kung Fu.
But as we will see, it means the glasses know Kung Fu. Donovan then announces that, surprise, surprise, Hayate is alive and well.
I've kept him in superb fighting condition. Send him in.
Nothing says superb fighting condition like being kept in restraints for a year. Donovan wants to prove the value of the glasses by fighting Hayate. We then get a fight between the two, and Hayate wins. Only it turns out that it was a simulation prediction, and so they have the fight, but Donovan knows what Hayate is going to do, and reacts to the moves before Hayate makes them, and ends up beating Hayate. I have questions. How did the glasses that have the data of Kasumi's, Christie's, Tina's, and Hayabusa's fighting style predict Hayate's moves, not having recorded his fighting style? It wasn't said or shown that Hayate was injected with nanobots, nor was it shown that his fighting style data was downloaded to the glasses. We haven't seen any of them fight Hayate in the past either. I would find it more believable as a prediction algorithm if we knew that it had recorded Hayate's fighting data. As it is, I think it would be better if the glasses somehow transferred the fighting knowledge to someone who has never been a fighter, a la the Matrix. Donovan then thanks his buyers for their interest and hopes that they like the demonstration of the use of the glasses. And now that they have paid for the data, he begins to upload it for them. But back in the lab, Weatherby interrupts the data transmission. Donovan turns and heads to the lab. Weatherby is trying to access the locks on the fighters to release them, and says that it will take him some time. Helena then goes to stall Donovan as long as she can. She does surprisingly well, considering the glasses should be able to predict her moves. Donovan does win, and then he stops Weatherby, and then turns on the compound's self-destruct device. With the countdown counting down, Donovan and Bayman start to flee. Weatherby then unlocks the holding pods of our protagonists. And you know what that means.
Game on! Game on!
The fight moves out into the Buddha temple. Action pose! The fight has its back and forths. Quite frankly, this probably should have been more one-sided in Donovan's favor, since the glasses have our protagonist's fighting styles programmed into them. But it's not bad. He generally has the upper hand even against 4 opponents. But Donovan loses his glasses and decides it's time to leave. He makes a run for it, and Hayate does some ninja strike magic that causes Donovan to collapse. Kasumi then paralyzes him with a needle. The time reaches 0, and our protagonists leap for safety as the explosion consumes Donovan. A bit later, our protagonists are floating in the ocean on some debris when the pirates from earlier in the movie return. Tina punches the leader out, and they make off with the pirate boat. Cut to 1 week later. Kasumi returns to the ninja temple. Has she returned triumphantly with Hayate? See, I told you I was going to find him. Now is all forgiven? Or has she brought her new friends and is going to kill everyone that declared her excommunicate for leaving the fortress? Our hero, folks. The end. And there you have it, a so-so video game movie adaptation about girl bossing, before girl bossing became a thing. Although, as I said in the beginning, the girls are quite attractive and do show a good bit of skin. Historically, that is how women achieve power, with their wits and with their other assets. In this movie, while the women aren't physically stronger than their male adversaries, they are just more skilled in the martial arts, and that is how they win the day. The story is laughably thin, but the movie is based on a fighting video game, so that is to be expected. There is no backstory about the competition or how Donovan knows about our protagonist to send them invitations. The wire work can be a bit obvious and wonky at times. The Matrix this is not. This was the last movie directed by Corey Yuen, best known for Ninja in the Dragon's Den, No Retreat, No Surrender, Dragons Forever, and The Transporter. I think he does a fine job with this one, but it's nothing special. It was written by J.F. Lawton, Adam Gross, and Seth Gross. Lawton is known for Pretty Woman, Under Siege, The Hunted, and Jackson. Adam Gross is known for being the writer on TV shows America's Funniest People and Bill Nye the Science Guy, and the movies Devour and D.O.A. Seth Gross is also best known for America's Funniest People, Bill Nye the Science Guy, Devour, and D.O.A. It starred Jamie Presley, Devon Aoki, Sarah Carter, Holly Valance, Eric Roberts, and Kane Kosugi. All do a serviceable job, but that's all the material asks of them. It was rated PG-13 for lots of chop sake and girls in bikinis. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 27 minutes, so it won't eat up most of your day. It had a budget of $30 million, but it only made $7.7 million, so it lost money. IMDb has it at 4.8 out of 10, Metacritic has it at 38 out of 100, and Rotten Tomatoes has it at 33% per critics and 36% per audience scores. Most of these are a little harsh. I'm more in line with IMDb. All in all, I give it about a 5 out of 10. Some of the fights are decently choreographed, if not particularly memorable. Normally, Asian martial arts scenes are filmed with the camera pulled back so that you can follow the action and the actors can show their skills. Here in the West, often scenes like these are filmed with more close-up and quick cuts made in the editing to make it look more exciting. The film hovers between the two, and I'll admit I prefer the Asian way of filming martial arts. And finally, who doesn't like women's beach volleyball? Beyond that, there isn't much reason to tune in. As always, thanks for watching. Until next time.
It's one small step for man.
Now cut that!